This 17th century French coat of arms inspired one of the most iconic brands in American history. But do you recognize it? In the 50s and 60s, Cadillacs dominated the streets and the silver screen.
A solid gold Cadillac.
In 1978, global sales hit a record 360,000 units. Cadillacs were everywhere.
Cadillac Eldorado.
New California shore.
And now, 50 years later, they're virtually nowhere. According to the Detroit Free Press, Cadillac sold some 160,000 units in the US in 2024, compared to 324,000 units sold by Mercedes and 371 units sold by BMW. In fact, Cadillac sales have dipped so much that you may go an entire day without ever seeing one, depending on where you live in the US. But it's not just the American consumer that Cadillac has to win over again. This time, it's everyone else. Before diving into years of sales reports, archival footage, and press releases, I had to take a significant detour from everything I know, or thought I knew, about Cadillac and its parent company, General Motors, who my great-grandfather worked for in Chicago for over 40 years. If you thought this was just another business story about an outdated brand trying to reinvent itself, you need to buckle up. Because this video is less about Cadillac's plan to stage a comeback and more about its plot to stage a revenge tour that's headed straight for enemy territory.
Hey, was that floating like a Cadillac? Or was that stinging like a Beamer? I'm confused.
So Disney probably didn't write that line as a dig, but the comparison cuts rather deep. Today, BMW is the second best-selling luxury car brand in the US. Cadillac, it's not even on the board. But the crazy thing is, Cadillac created the luxury auto market in America. Let me show you what I mean. This is Henry Ford, the founder of Ford, and his son in a Ford Model C in 1905. And this is Henry Leland, the founder of Cadillac, in a Cadillac Osceola that same year. See the difference? Leland's enclosed cars were a serious departure from open-air horse-drawn carriages, and that made them modern-day marvels. It also made them more expensive than the Fords, and dare I say, luxury? The 1906 Model H Coupe, brand new, was priced at $3,000. Today, that's the equivalent purchasing power of buying a brand new Escalade. Don't worry, we are gonna get to the Escalades. Leland established his Cadillac Motor Car Company in Detroit in 1902 and named it after the city's French founder, Antoine de la Motte Cadillac. His French coat of arms inspired the design for the car's badge, and you can see how many iterations have come out of that one timeless symbol over the last 120 years. In 1909, General Motors bought Cadillac and kept Leland on in an advising capacity, until a dispute led him to quit, and then turned him into a competitor when he founded Lincoln Motors in 1917. But for the short time that Leland and GM were united, they made Cadillac the, quote, standard of the world, winning awards for their electronifications and interchangeable parts. The car's pièce de résistance was the smooth yet powerful 8-cylinder V8 engine that set a new standard in luxury and performance, and Cadillac under GM was the first car maker to mass produce it. But it was this car, the 1927 LaSalle, that changed everything. It was the first time Cadillac, or any car company for that matter, hired a designer rather than an engineer to take the wheel on developing a new model. Under Harley Earl, Cadillacs became known for their ostentatious size and opulent style. He built them longer, lower, and wider, with tail fins inspired by fighter planes, leather on seats, wraparound windshields, even carpet. By the 1950s, anyone who was anyone drove or was driven in a Cadillac. The cars became synonymous with American status, power, and luxury for both men and women. Other brands even started using the name to describe their own products. But underneath those flashy chrome accents and futuristic tail fins, Cadillac had an Achilles heel. The cars weren't practical. The V8 engine might have been lauded, but it was a gas guzzler, and that became a big problem during the 1970s oil crisis. Still, Cadillac sales remained strong, peaking at 360,000 units in 1978. But Americans quickly realized that While they wanted luxury, they needed efficiency. In the shadow of Cadillac's rise, Toyota and other foreign car makers like Mercedes and BMW had been quietly importing their cars in small volumes. Their models were smaller, had better handling, and were more fuel efficient. General Motors was blindsided, but it still had something over the competition: 5 other auto brands in its portfolio, one of which was Chevrolet. So it quickly hatched a plan to bring a new Cadillac to market.
They gave me a Chevrolet and they said, make a Cadillac out of it. This was Cadillac in panic mode.
That's John Manoogian, Cadillac's former director of design, who said he was given less than a year to design this, the 1982 Cimarron by Cadillac.
This was Detroit's first attempt to make a European-style sports luxury sedan.
I know I said this video wouldn't be a pure comeback story, but the truth is, Cadillac fell so far from its luxury pedestal that it had no choice but to make a comeback. We analyzed how Cadillac and 6 other brands, including Apple, survived their lowest points, and found that the most successful business comebacks actually follow predictable patterns that any entrepreneur can apply to their own set of business struggles or circumstances. You can download our guide in the description box or scan the QR code to learn proven frameworks for resilience, strategic pivoting, and brand reinvention from some of the biggest names that made some huge mistakes, like the Cimarron. The Cimarron had the Cadillac badge and all the trappings of a luxury car: genuine leather seats, metallic finishes, maximum front legroom, and yes, carpet. But the Cimarron bore a striking resemblance to its less refined cousin, the Chevy Cavalier. Under the hood, they both shared the same 4-cylinder engine, Cadillac's first since 1915, and were built on the same J-body platform that made the cars almost identical.
You had 4 other divisions using the identical body, and they wanted to make a Cadillac out of it, and oh, by the way, you don't have any money.
GM's play to save time and money by rebadging the Chevy Cavalier as the new Cadillac Cimarron completely backfired. But not because the car didn't sell, although it didn't sell particularly well. The bigger issue was that consumers started to question the integrity of the brand. Were Cadillacs truly special or just Chevrolets in disguise? According to a 2017 list of the worst cars of all time from Time magazine, the Cimarron misstep nearly killed Cadillac and remains its biggest shame. Cadillac discontinued the car 6 years later, but by then, imports from the European market had only gotten more competitive, and domestic competition had intensified too. In 1999, Lincoln Motors officially dethroned Cadillac as the #1 luxury car brand in the US. But instead of hitting the panic button like it did before, Cadillac shifted gears. According to Fast Company, it allegedly dropped $4.3 billion on a new design philosophy that resulted in a new critically acclaimed sedan, the CTS, and a revamped Escalade that quickly became the SUV of the rich and famous. According to Architectural Digest, it was a successful reinvention of the brand. But a decade later, King Cadillac still hadn't reclaimed its throne in the US. And spoiler alert, that's still the case today. But in 2018, Cadillac took a bold turn that may have put the brand on its road to redemption and revenge. According to CNBC, executives chose to largely isolate Cadillac's products from GM's other brands and not allow the sharing of consumer-focused parts. The complete opposite approach from the Cimarron that nearly killed the brand 35 years prior. According to a Cadillac representative I spoke with, this move is paying off. In the second quarter of 2025, retail sales were up 17.6% year over year, the best since 2007. If a rebadged Chevy Cavalier is what put Cadillac on life support in the first place, can a $350,000 hand-built EV bring it fully back to life? This is Cadillac's $81 million bet to find out. The 2025 Celestiq. It's the brand's 4th EV following the Lyriq, the Optiq, and the Escalade IQ, and it's extremely customizable. Your journey to buying one starts by creating a mood board with a personal design concierge. Although every Celestiq comes standard with a 4-zone smart glass roof, LED lighting display sequence, and hands-free Super Cruise technology that some say is better than Tesla's. Even sweeter for Cadillac, BMW and Mercedes have yet to create a car to compete with it. I asked Cadillac directly why it makes business sense to go all in on an ultra-luxury EV. And they told me over email that the Celestiq reestablishes the iconic brand as the standard of the world, while serving as the flagship for the brand's electric future. And what they're really trying to do is connect Cadillac's past to its future. Because as futuristic as the Celestiq is, it's also a return to Cadillac's roots. It's the first car to be hand-built in Detroit since the Eldorado in 1957. And while that may make it all-American, it definitely has the Chinese consumer in mind. Despite years of steady growth and a level of popularity in China that eventually eclipsed the US, Cadillac's recent annual sales in that market are plummeting, and one of its biggest hurdles is offering more EVs in its lineup. China is still Cadillac's second biggest market, so appealing to Chinese buyers is critical for the comeback.
One of the things that is very big in the Chinese market are very big graphic interfaces.
Yep, the Celestiq has not one, but 5 interactive HD displays, including 2 screens in the back and one in the front that's 55 inches long.
Because I know in China, you want to sit in the back seat. They don't sell many 2-seater cars in China.
Right.
Because the idea is somebody else drives and you sit in the back, so you have all the controls and everything back there.
Yep, each passenger even has their own climate control for individual heating, cooling, and airflow throughout the drive. But there's a problem. Cadillac is producing just 25 units of the Celestiq in 2025 and will intentionally build less than 2 a day in years to come. That's total worldwide units. So Cadillac and GM have a plan to capture global attention a little bit faster. After one formal rejection and more than 2 years of waiting, Cadillac's bid to join the 2026 Formula One season was officially accepted in March 2025, giving it just 9 months to build a world-class race car and team. According to the New York Times, F1's other teams, including Cadillac's German rival Mercedes, were initially less than thrilled at the addition of a 10th competitor. Those feelings have since changed, but Cadillac's entry reportedly hinged on it paying a $450 million anti-dilution fee to preserve the potential earnings of the other teams. And it's estimated that GM will spend at least $1 billion on its new sporting endeavor. But with every Formula One team now worth at least that amount, GM will almost certainly see a return on its investment. Even more promising is the ROI of 750 million global viewers watching Cadillac compete in the most expensive sport in the world. If that doesn't give the brand the global renaissance it needs to fully regain its luxury status, maybe its revenge car will. Cadillac isn't the only luxury brand losing ground in China. If you want to know why Porsche and Maserati are floundering in that market too, check out our video on the real reason China doesn't want luxury cars anymore. And make sure to download our Business Comeback Playbook to learn how 7 brands fell and fought back.